I'm going to switch topics to AEW, but before we do that, next week we'll change our time for Sunday Spaces because we're going to have
shit! Next Sunday's
WWE
WrestleMania.
conference.
We'll have to
Yes,
figure
sir.
that out. Oh shit!
We'll probably be on a little early, but we'll be there. We'll let you know.
Yeah, and nobody really cares about the pre-show, so we can.
Yeah, we'll probably pop in.
Yeah, we can do it that way. Yeah, we could do it during the pre-show because we can have it on in the background, but we can say, shit, man. See, it felt like it took forever to get here, but in the last few days, like shit, WrestleMania is this weekend. All right, let's go. Yeah, all right, yeah.
On to Don Wayne's favorite subject.
This will be fun.
AEW. I love it. Don. I've never talked to you about your opinion on the Death Riders and what's going on, so I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. In less than 15 minutes, of course.
No, that's fine. I mean, we'll do a quick overview of what I've seen. So I bought the paper. Man.
We're good.
No, I bought the pay-per-view last week, right? I had my Amazon reward, so I spent $12.23 on that pay-per-view. And I still feel like I got robbed. I still want a refund.
Give me back my $12.
I'm not even kidding. I felt like I've watched 3 episodes of Dynamite in a row, and it's not getting any better. And I'm not going to refer to them as the Death Riders. I call them the Cracker Clan. Because if you're going to tell me you based this guy off of a racist movie from Australia, that's what I'm going to go with. The whole thing has sucked from day one. The chick beating up dudes, Moxley running around trying to be a cosplay Stone Cold, looking horrible, not looking like a champion. There's no belt. None of this from a wrestling perspective makes me want to tune in any longer. For the first time in a long time, this past Wednesday, I cut the show off. When they opened up with Moxley, I said, let me get this straight. You're going to open up with your world champion after he just had a match on Sunday at the pay-per-view where he had all kinds of nonsense run-ins. This show is starting to feel, I don't know, man, I don't know how to put it, but it's repetitive on its face alone. Same guys, same match styles, same outcomes every week. Nothing is surprising about this show anymore. And the Cracker Clan is a lone example. And I feel bad that Pac hurt himself because he really did jack his ankle up. Ooh, so who the hell knows what they're going to do with that 6-man tag now? Oh, I really don't give a shit either. No. But I feel bad he got hurt yet again.
Right? No, that's... Yeah, no, I didn't watch the show because I just don't. I'll catch highlights and stuff, but I was in the PWG chat with Phil and someone was like, "Oh God, he hurt his ankle," and you're just like, "Not again."
Yeah, he snapped his ankle.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
It looked like he broke his Jericho. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I heard things that they might extend Moxley title reign into a wrestling dream. I'm just hearing.
No, it's gonna be All In. It'll be at All In. That'll be their big moment. But
okay.
I mean, that's
what they hear.
I see Fraxium's hand.
Denisha, you've been pretty. Denisha, not to put you. I'm kidding around when I say this, but your inside scoop person you have isn't very good.
Well, I mean, is there any inside scoop person that's any good? Like, let's be real. Like, I don't mean to be rude, but I don't know if any scoops are listening in, but I mean, it's, maybe with AEW they're better because unfortunately there's leaks and they want to run with it and hurt their business. We've seen how with WWE keeping secrets and keeping things from people. It's a great moment. You get awesome pops. It's, even when stuff gets spoiled, it sucks. Look at Kevin Owens, but,
no, I agree. Like, that's the hardest part of wrestling today. The surprises are what make wrestling great. When you don't see the swerve, the guy coming in, the heel turn, the face turn, when you don't see it coming. That's what makes it. And the part about AEW, and I'm sorry if I'm going to take this up for a minute, but the issue I have with AEW is I'm seeing the same shit week in and week out. They brought in Ospreay, Ocean Spray, if you will, as I call him. They brought him in to be a major star, and I get it. The guy can work in the ring. He needs some time on the mic, give him a mouthpiece, and he'll do fine. But he is out there every Wednesday having yet another match. And he no longer feels special. He no longer feels like a draw. You don't see CM Punk. You don't see Cody Rhodes. You don't see all those superstars of the Wrestling Federation, if you will, baby, the WWE. They're not having those matches every week. So when they have them on a SmackDown or a Raw or a Saturday night's main event, it feels like a special moment and you have to tune in to watch because you don't get them on cable or free TV every week.
Right.
You've got to watch the pay-per-views or the PLEs. Dynamite is not that company anymore. They're just throwing them out there every week. It's the worst booking decisions I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
They're able to take special attractions and turn them into one of the boys just like that.
Yeah, nobody's more over than when they show up.
Happens.
That's when everyone's the most over, and then it just dies out.
All right, Chris, I think you're first on the list.
No, it's Fraxium. Sorry, the guy with the
Fraxium.
Yeah, that head came in for a while ago. It's Fraxium is.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
let's hear it. Go, go, go.
So my opinion on Dynamite was, it was a really okay show. I do agree with what Don Wayne was saying. And by the way, hello Don, how's it going?
Hey, buddy.
I do agree that this Cracker Clan bullshit is getting tiring. And I don't really I understand why Moxley's doing what he does, but at the same time I don't get it, because they should have had him lose to Swerve. That was the guy to put it on. Darby is out doing some shit with Mount Everest or whatever the fuck he's climbing.
Wow. Nice.
So
it's true. No, the thing is, the death ratings is what I call them. The Cracker Clan, the Bumba Clock Club, the White Pool Combat. No, whatever it is, they're just fucking terrible. Like, they're awful. Nobody wants to watch them. Nobody wants to see them. Like, it's not, they don't have heat because, this is so, you want to see them get beat. They have heat because it's just boring. Nobody cares. And then to have him in the match with Shibata, where the man who had his brain removed with the man who's never had a brain. Like, nobody wanted to watch that. We talked about this. We've talked about this on multiple shows here, of that they have the go-home shows and the follow-up shows of the pay-per-views are absolutely terrible. And the first match after the pay-per-view is Jon Moxley versus Shapoopy. No!
Yeah, they have no continuity in the show. The actual television show itself is the worst product.
Yeah.
Don will agree, I'm
sure. It doesn't make
when you see the actual show from the start to the end, there's no continuity throughout the whole show. It just
there's
match,
no connection.
flop, back.
And then every match is the same, where let's get all the moves in, let's have a bunch of kickouts. They'll do stuff in the first and second matches the exact same, so that, nothing can get over, nothing can stay over. So no, yeah.
And I also feel really bad for Pac getting injured again. I like Pac when he was Neville.
No, I always feel bad for injuries. That's just, 100%.
But here's the thing with Pac, though, because Johnny Bottles brought it up on our show, by the way. Square Circle Maniacs, if you don't know who we are on
Please,
YouTube.
yes.
Oh, I was going to give you time for that at the end, Don.
I like a quick plug. That was a good one. That was good.
I've been doing it for about a year now, so I'm trying to figure out my spots.
Respect.
But my counterpart, Johnny Bottles, brought up a great point. You can't have that sized body with a needle in your ass and putting on that much pressure on your knees and joints. Like, it's just not going to work. The steroids are eventually going to outweigh you. And he brought up a great point in that. Davey Boy Smith counterpart, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's what it was. He just got too big for his size.
Yep.
The Dynamite Kid had too much meat on them bones and them structures, and he fell apart because of it. And I feel like maybe Pac is the same way. He just got too much meat on that small carcass of his.
Yeah, no. He wants to be a super heavyweight, and at that size, leaning down would do him a lot of good.
Is Charles next or Chris?
I didn't know. I thought I had Fraxium, and then I looked up.
I thought Charles was Chris always talks, so let Charles talk again.
Well, let's be honest. AEW, I think they got more problems to worry about, because The Rock may be acquiring their favorite partner that they like to go in and steal talent from, even though that is supposed to be a partnership. But AEW,
Charles has been on that T-shirt with The Rock in New Japan all weekend. Let me tell y'all what. Charles, I gotta give you credit. This has intrigued the shit out of you. And I give you credit, brother. You're like, no, we're going to talk about this.
We're going to talk about it. Like,
where's Marie
Rock
Shadows
just
when
doesn't
you
go. You just don't go post an NJPW shirt a week before WrestleMania, being on the board of TKO unless there's something going on. And you should have seen some of the comments from the AEW fans. Like, They were tripping out. They were freaking out. Like, what's going on over here?
We all know that Rock's got a team of how many people that, he doesn't post anything or do anything without it clearing all of it. Yeah, no, there's no way that wasn't at least on some level on purpose. Even if he was just being a dick, like, that's fine.
I have a question for Charles. Was Charles able to figure out what was written on that one little square?
Nope.
Yeah, okay.
I was not able to figure it out, but I think that the Rubik's Cube in NJPW, I think they might be working towards a partnership. And I've discussed this with Don before. It's like, what has been the benefit that AEW and New Japan have had since this whole thing started?
The only person that's benefited was AEW because they've literally stolen every star they've actually made in New Japan. New Japan has not been a very good brand of a wrestling company the last several years because AEW signed all the talent they had started making over there. Right. And now they've got one other English guy. I don't know what his name is, Johnny Jerkoff, whatever his name is. They're trying to sign him now.
If you go back into the AltJake archives, you will see and hear George saying that WWE and NJPW will be working together before 2025 was up. I said that way back when.
That was a good call. I give you that one.
George gets a lot of those in. That's George comes in.
I get a lot wrong too.
We don't worry about those. Those are also in the archives, but no, it's fine. No, it's fine. No, I want to see if somebody can figure out what was on that little dot there. The thing about the talent, not only did they take all of the talent, but then they ruined all the talent too. AEW ruined NJPW and all the talent that they stole. That's almost impressive if it wasn't so terrible.
By featuring them every Wednesday night in a random ass match instead of treating them like superstars. Cause you've seen what Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Syndicate have done. Yeah. They're like, no. We ain't doing a match every week, Tony. That's not how you get over in this business. People know who we are. We are going to be stars for you. We'll have a match every now and then, but we're going to kick the absolute shit out of whoever you put us in the ring with.
Yeah, I'm not going to have an 18-minute match with, Kip Sabian or Orange Cassidy or somebody else. And, they went the distance. They had the fighting spirit. Like, nobody cares. That's like
that's definitely the key right there, Jake, what he said, though. It's definitely the key. Yeah. Is you have a superstar come in, act like a superstar. People know they're a superstar. I don't want to see him wrestle every week.
No.
I want to see him, kick, like you said, Dick Don said, kick the shit out of Joe Schmo one week, come back, cut a promo, say, did you see us kick the shit out of Joe Schmo last week? You're next if you don't shut the hell up.
Yeah.
And I love how AEW fans were trying to deflect, saying that it was a shot at Carl Anderson. Like, do you think The Rock knows who Carl Anderson is? You think his social media team knows who Carl Anderson is? Like, honestly, AEW fans are on copism right now.
Yeah, we don't get into that. We just talk about the
mental gymnastics. All right, Chris, what's up? We saw your hand come up. Sorry, buddy. We just kind of got going there for a bit.
No worries. Here is the crux of the whole problem with AEW, and it's funny because I was thinking about this here. Mike Santana left. He is now in TNA, and him and Ali have one of the best stories going on. It's about, Santana's been open about, hey, I am an addict. I have had to, overcome drugs and alcohol. And Ali, who's playing this politician, whether you call it Trump or Kamala Harris character, is just needling him, trying to get him off the wagon, going, hey, you know what? You're an addict, which means you're going to self-destruct. I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch it. I mean, that is storytelling. That is, drama. That is two guys who we can relate to because, okay, well, this is what is in our real world. There's nothing in AEW. I watch that. It's like it's carny wrestling. It's over-the-top characters. Toni Storm, I cannot get into. She looks like a goof. She acts like a goof. And I'm sitting there like, okay, why should I care? Even Harley Cameron, who I like, comes across like a goof. Doesn't relate well. She's beautiful. She's talented. But they have just found ways to run these into the ground. And after a while, it's like, oh, my God, I'm embarrassed watching the product.
Yeah, no, I always think of Wardlow. Like, he had his greatest moment, and then they had him feuding with the stupid lawyer and a bunch of little security guards that nobody gave any shits about, and it just ruined him. And, from then till now, whatever happened, and no one's seen him. It's
powerbombed MJF 6-7 times and disappeared. Unbelievable.
And was never heard from again.
Unbelievable.
Here's another one. Where the hell is Powerhouse Hobbs? He was on a roll for a couple of weeks and he's just suddenly disappeared again. Where the hell is Hobbs?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely.
We've said that a lot of times in the past 3 years, haven't we? Where the hell's Hobbs?
Yeah, no, seriously.